Good morning. It is Sunday. It's the Lord's Day, and it is the 28th of December. And yes, Advent is over, but I just wanted to touch on one more thing that I mentioned, I think probably a couple of days ago, and that's Matthew 2, 9 and 11. After listening to the king, they left, and once again the star they saw when it rose led them until it stopped above the place where the child was. And as they came into the house and saw the child with Mary, his mother, they bowed down and worshiped him. They opened their treasure boxes and gave him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So, somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 years, we don't know exactly. The reason we think 2 years is because that's when the babies were slaughtered in an attempt to kill Jesus. The wise men arrived, notice it says, to the house because Mary and Joseph were now still in Bethlehem, but they had found a place to stay until they have to flee in a bit to go to Egypt because the king wants them dead. But meanwhile, these wise men show up, and we don't know there are three. That's assumed because there were three gifts to create the kind of chaos they did when they went into Jerusalem. It's easy to assume that this was a whole group of people. And remember, as I said before, they studied in the school that was originally founded in Babylon by Daniel. And so they bring their gifts, the gold, the frankincense, and the myrrh. And somebody mentioned to me, and I never really thought about it in these terms, but the gifts of the Magi became the way that Joseph and Mary were able to live. They were the resources they needed to pay for their way in Egypt until it was safe, until God told them that they could return back to Nazareth. And so this this is the only example where people from, so we say, a more educated upper level are brought in to recognize the importance of Jesus and to show that the prophecies of the First Testament, that many of them were going to be fulfilled in this baby. And so they arrive in time for God to use them to give provision to Mary and Joseph. He gives them the wisdom so that they know that they can't trust Herod and don't become markers for Herod to find the baby. And it shows us that one day when he does rule, he'll rule over all the nations. For just as these wise men, these magi's worshiped him, one day all world leaders will worship him. Hopefully in acceptance, but one way or another, they're going to acknowledge who he is. So Advent's over, the baby been born. It's now some time has passed, and the final worshiping is occurring before he has to flee, or his parents have to take him, and they have to flee to save his life. And so just keep in mind that this may be the start of his ministry, and we don't see him again now for 30 plus years, with one exception, I know, in the temple. But we've got our whole life and soon a new year ahead of us to carry on that ministry to others. So have a blessed Lord's Day. We're coming up on New Year's in just a few more days, 3, I think. And then remember, we are the reason that Jesus came, and we are the blessing to others of that truth. So see you again tomorrow.